Nike has never once, not in 50 years of advertising, led with a product feature. Not the cushioning, not the breathable mesh, not the carbon plate, not even the weight of the sole. Not a single time. Every Nike ad you have ever seen was about a human being doing something extraordinary. The shoe seems, well, almost incidental. And I want to be clear, that is not an aesthetic preference. That is the most deliberate and most profitable brand strategy in sports history, or maybe in the history of branding. This is actually called identity-based branding. Nike didn't invent the theory, but they executed it at a scale and with a consistency that nobody has ever matched or could match. Let's see how it works, why it came from, and why it still works on you, even when you know what they're doing. And this is the kind of what this channel is. Taking the strategies that billion-dollar brands run quietly and putting them in a plain language. New one every week. If that seems interesting to you, subscribe so you don't miss one. Okay, Nike. In 1988, an advertising copywriter named Dan Whedon was preparing to present Nike's first major brand campaign. He needed one line, one single line, something that worked across all of them. It happened the night before the presentation. He was reading a newspaper. There was a story about Gary Gilmore, a convicted murderer. Yes, you're right, a murderer. Executed by firing squad in Utah. His reported last words, well, actually 3 words. We didn't change one word. Can you guess which one? Well, I'm just kidding. We all know that one. Just do it. You can actually watch Whedon explain this in his own word in a 2015 Design in Daba interview on YouTube. I've linked it below. It's worth watching. In those 3 words, he captured something no product ever could. The internal experience of pushing past fear, doubt, inertia, not the shoe, the person wearing it. Phil Knight, Nike's founder, reportedly hated the slogan at first. That sounds about right. Hated. Too broad, too generic. But Whedon understood something Knight didn't yet. Well, as of yet. That breadth was actually the point. Just do it belongs to anyone who has ever talked themselves into or out of something difficult. Well, I guess, which is every human being alive. So what's actually happening psychologically here? Why does identity-based branding work at a level that feature-based advertising cannot? There's a psychologist, Hazel Marcus, who spent decades studying what she called possible selves, the version of ourselves we imagine we could become. She found that people are deeply motivated by these projected future identities, not by who they are now, but by who they see themselves potentially becoming. When someone buys Nike, they are not primarily buying grip or cushioning. They are buying an affiliation with a version of themselves that trains, that pushes, that just does it. You know, the shoe is the signal, the identity is the purchase. This is why Nike spends almost nothing on product advertising and almost everything on athlete stories. Because athletes don't demonstrate the product, they demonstrate the aspiration. And trust me, aspiration is infinitely more compelling than specification. And that's why the Air Jordan controversy worked in their favor. The NBA banned Jordan's shoes. Nike paid his $5,000 per game fines. The story became, this shoe is so dangerous, so powerful, they're not even allowed to wear it. Interesting, right? The restriction became the desire. Simon Sinek started with why.
People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Nike is the most successful proof of concept for that idea in the history of consumer brands. The feature is the ticket to the room. You need a decent product, but the feature is not exactly what makes people choose you. What makes people choose you is whether your brand gives them a story to tell about themselves. They are not selling what their product does, they're selling who someone becomes when they use it. What brand do you think nails this better than anyone right now? Building pure identity rather than just selling features. Drop it in the comments, I'm genuinely curious. See you in the next decode.